Hi, my name is Jenna and I am a first year English literature student, and today I thought I would show you the books that I read in my first semester, which I've just completed, and I'm about to go into my second semester, which is quite obvious. But I thought I'd make this video because when I was kind of gearing up to go to university, this was just kind of the thing that really got me really excited, and I just found it really interesting to watch. And in all fairness, I've seen a lot of people do kind of what I read throughout the entire year, but not seen many people do it semester by semester. And I think this kind of gives a good idea of how much you're expected to read in your first semester, and how you can kind of prepare yourself and what to expect. Because I think that's one of the really scary parts, especially doing English. I mean, I'm a quick reader, but I'm not a very consistent reader. So I struggle sometimes kind of, I'm gonna have to read 10 billion books in 1 week. And that was a fear of mine definitely when I first started university, and it just wasn't like that at all. It was really manageable. So yeah, I mean, if anybody has any questions about what it was like my first semester, what's it like being an English literature student, I'd really love to answer those questions, so just leave them down below. And also I commute, so if there's anything oh, the cat's coming in. If there's anything that, right, you don't need to, he's gonna mush his gums against the tripod. But I mean, if there's any questions about commuting, what's it like going to university, I also had a gap year, and what's it like kind of going back to that. I mean, if anybody has any questions, leave them down below, but I'm going to start off by showing you what I had to read from the kind of big textbooks that I've got. So these are the Norton anthologies. Here I've got, oh god, which numbers do I have? I don't know, but I've got the 20th century and 21st centuries, the Victorian age and the Romantic period. And these, I believe these must be A, B and C, but I could be wrong. Volume E, so no, I am wrong. I must have done another one, but I can't find it on my shelf. Maybe I am right. Yeah, I am right. These are the last 3 in the series. So one of my modules, I don't know how much I can share about like the modules I'm doing. That's having a drink. Because I don't know, like I don't want to get in trouble. Like I don't think I will, but I'm not going to name any names or anything just because I don't want to get in trouble. But this was the big compulsory course, well, both of them were compulsory, but this is the course that everybody who was studying literature, even with if they were doing a joint honours, this was the class that everybody did. And it was focused on building the skills on how to be an English literature student, and also it started off with 20th and 21st century, so it made it really manageable to start off with. And I think this is probably something that a lot of universities do, because the step from A-level to university is big. It's a big jump because you're out on your own, they're not telling you to do anything, and you just have to work it out for yourself. But I always recommend looking at the reading list, because that's how I found a lot of things. And also your university library page is really good, or should be really good for finding any information. But from these are just they're absolutely huge, and it was a pain carrying these on the train. But they just go through, so from this one we did Zadie Smith's The Waiter's Wife. And then we ended up doing a lot of short stories. So we did Bliss by Catherine Mansfield, which isn't in this one, but it was just an easy, accessible one that we could all get to online. And then the Victorian age, we did a lot of well, each week was kind of a different period. So we did Victorian poetry, Victorian women writers. So we did Rossetti and Barrett Browning. So that was an interesting one for that. So again, sonnets, really easy, manageable bits of poetry. And then I've got the one here from the Romantic period. So what did we do in this one? We just did, again, Romantic poets. So we did Blake, and we did, I think we did Keats. This is over 2 weeks ago, so I can't really remember. Blake, yeah, we did Blake, and I think we did Mary Wollstonecraft as well. Just kind of went through different periods of time and looked at really kind of key bits of literature from them. This one I felt like I struggled with a little bit more in the fact that this kind of module, because there wasn't a sense of cohesion through it. It was more of a chronological kind of landscape that we were looking at, rather than a coherent theme, which was much more obvious in the books I'm going to show you that I did for my other module. So I think these are most of the books that I did for my other module, which was focused on a lot of classical literature and fairy tale, which I wasn't expecting to like this as much as I did, and I absolutely loved it, and I did really well in these, and I think these like kind of assignments, just because I think I enjoyed it so much. I'm not going to go through them in order because I can't remember it, but we did Homer's The Odyssey, so they told us that the Oxford World Classics were the best, so you didn't have to buy them, they gave us online options. I don't really know why I chose to buy them. I've chose to buy all my books for my second semester as well, but I get them all secondhand. I use Abe Books, and you can put the I can't remember what it's called, the ISBN number in, and it'll bring it up, and they just do it really decent, cheaply priced stuff on there. So Abe Books, I'll leave it linked down below. So in this we focused, we read quite a big chunk of this in comparison to what we did of other books that we did. So we had a really big focus on Circe and the Sirens and the Cyclops. So with that we kind of did a lot of our seminar work on it, analysis of the characters, and sorry, the cat's having another drink, but real focus on what do we think of Odysseus as a leader, and how Andy Snow is having something to eat, and how the other characters fit our presentation. So was Circe a witch? Was she a villain? What was she? And then we looked at a lot of film and kind of poems and modern adaptations of the Odyssey, which is actually something that we did with the rest of it. Then we had to read Oedipus the King, Oedipus Rex. Not my favourite read. I read it was easy to read. I think this is again one of the bigger things that we did have to read, which was closer to the start. I think it was maybe between 50 and 80 pages. I could be making that up, but it wasn't a particularly long read, and again we had the entire week to prep for it. And then we read we read A Midsummer Night's Dream, and we did a lot of focus on this because this ended up being one of our last assignments. And I really enjoyed reading A Midsummer Night's Dream with the knowledge of this. I think this is one of the last things we read. It was the last thing we read. Really interesting with the knowledge of the Greek myths that we'd already done. And I read it in like year 6, and it was, magical fairies, people being in love, blah blah blah. But when you look at it, there's a real focus on Hippolyta, the way we looked at it, Puck and Bottom, and how there's a real close, strong tie to a lot of Ovid's Metamorphosis in it. We did hell of a lot from Ovid's Metamorphosis, and I really, really love it. There's a lot of stories that I found really, I don't want to say impactful, but they're impactful in my work in the way that I feel like I can call upon them a lot. And I did a lot of analysis on Daphne and Apollo, and it's just started raining, and oh my god, what's it called? Eurydice. Orpheus and Eurydice as a fly. A lot of work on that, and I really enjoyed, and I think it was really good going into a kind of a literature degree with an initial module that had a lot of information about all of these really, really important groundwork for the tropes and things that we base a lot of our literature upon today. And also there's kind of been that renaissance of like Circe and kind of the new feminist reimaginings of lots of these Greek tales. So I think that was a really good starting point for a literature student, and I really, really enjoyed this module a lot. But yeah, Ovid's Metamorphosis, hopefully this is something you will do on your degree if you're pursuing an English literature degree. If not, I'd definitely give it a read anyway, or just do a bit of research on the lesser known, well, not lesser known, but the myths that aren't just Zeus doing crazy things. Just like look at like Daphne, I'd look at Orpheus and Eurydice, I would look at another one which is not in this one, but it is in Apuleius the Golden Ass, and I would look at Cupid and Psyche, which is absolutely one of my favourite things that we did on this module. I found it so interesting because I knew the story because I think I watched a TED Talk video, like the TED Ed like animated videos, which are really, really good. They gave me a lot of base knowledge when I was kind of gearing up for my course, but it's actually quite romantic and I do quite like it. With a lot of these I'm kind of like, ugh, horrible, 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 they're not in love, blah, 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 blah. But this I actually quite liked. And what we did with this is we compared it to a lot of fairy tale narratives, which is really, really fun to do. Oh, I forgot to get my other book. We also read Uprooted by Naomi Novak, which was also really good. I haven't read kind of a YA kind of book in quite a while, and I really enjoyed that one. And then we used that also as a way to compare fairy tale narratives. So we did Cupid and Psyche, then we did kind of traditional fairy tales, so Bluebeard, Cinderella or Ash Patel, and I can't remember the other one we did. Oh, Beauty and the Beast, and then we watched adaptations of them, and then we moved on even further, and then we looked at Uprooted. So it was a really interesting like line of interest, I guess. It was just really interesting. And then we also, I'm trying to think if there's any other things that we did do. I think only other thing I can remember is we did the Bible. So we did the Book of Mark, maybe, the one where it's kind of Judas, all the miracles, that kind of stuff. And like I read all of it, and I think it's good, especially if you're an English literature student, have a decent understanding of the Bible, because it's such an influential piece of literature in whatever you read. But I didn't particularly enjoy it. Like, it wasn't riveting, but it was important, very, very important. But I wouldn't say it was as interesting as Metamorphoses. Never gonna know how to say that. But yeah, those are what I read on my first semester. Probably missing some bits out, but as a base, that's the kind of thing that I did in my first semester, so hopefully it is useful to you and you might be able to take inspiration from it, from either kind of prep for your course or just give you an idea of what would happen in an English literature course. Like I said, if you've got any questions, I would absolutely love to answer them, so just leave them down below. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope this is helpful, and hopefully I'll be back talking about something else very soon. Bye!